Okay, so I'm gonna test the mic and I'm gonna start with some of my opening notes. Okay, let's see if I can hear myself. I think. So my name is Alexander Gurban. I am a friend of Jen. So when she asked me to speak for you guys, I thought that's a great opportunity. So let me tell you a little bit about my credentials. I produce a number of products on Amazon. I sell like a fishing bait glue. I produce those calendars. I produce a number of books, and right now the most popular one is called Vet Vitals. That's like a chocolate for dogs, candies for dogs, and tea for dogs. Actually, if you have any animals, dogs are not allowed to have sugar and coffee or things of that nature. So that made actual out of coconut, which is healthy for dogs. So that's the current products. So and those are kind of selling nicely right now, and we hope that it will increase in productions further. The topic that I'm going to talk about will be basically around my skill set. In certain ways, I am a YouTuber, I'm a blogger. I have maybe like 40,000 on YouTube following, and I have about like 40,000 on Instagram. One of the things that I share with Jen, I have about 400 Facebook pages. So what that does is create backlinks. So whenever I need to promote an event or a product or service, I can post with a page manager so many times mention my product. So when Google is indexing whatever information, it gets me much higher in the search. So it's one of the techniques for search optimization. Okay, so you cannot like open like all 400 pages in one day. So you need to do it gradually, maybe like 5-6 pages a day. And let's say the way you don't open them in just one particular settings. Like I choose, for example, I have like calendars. I do a lot of fashion stuff. So I do like 200 different countries in the world, almost 200 countries in the world. So for each country, I happen to have a separate page. So all the people from that country, so whenever I post, whether it's France or Germany or Russia or US, I get traffic from those countries. So when it's diverse from different spaces, I get more to kind of to work with. And when I do my fashion events, I get a lot of people for this particular neighborhood from overseas. So when they travel to US, whoever is following, I have about my Facebook outreach is over 150,000. So whenever I do the event or something, I get like an audience to come. That's like one of my marketing tools. I think the advantage of this is it's free. I used to have about like 300-400 websites, like, and every time paying for GoDaddy for like each website and maintaining and running it and the updates on software. It's very expensive. It takes a lot of time. So I kind of got rid of that platform because to build your own. Okay, I think if I sit down, maybe I get a better picture on the camera. When I have this kind of outreach, it gets me heard. One of the topics that Jen asked me to talk about is how to set up basic kind of affordable tools for the blogging for startups. I think that 4K is great and it gets priority on YouTube and stuff, but it's quite expensive still. And if you have limited budgets, I think the HD still rules. First of all, it takes 4 times less space. Second of all, it's 4 times faster to upload. So when you uploading things, time is an essence. So every second, every minute matters in your day. So if it takes 4 times less, it's a big saving. Plus, the cameras nowadays are going through the huge revolution. It's mirrorless cameras coming out now, like for the last 5 years, but now they basically taken over, and all the DSLR cameras, those things have been very, very expensive for a long time. All those people invest a lot of money in lenses and cameras and sensors, and now it's all obsolete. So the prices plummeting drastically. It used to people would invest money into the equipment, would think, okay, that would last me 5-10 years, I'll make so much money, I'll make it back. Now this cycle is so much shorter. One thing that, let's say, this slide that are lighting me up, Jen asked me, like, it looks so professional, it looks like nice, you can, this is, we're looking at maybe $3-4 from the AliExpress. So like the shipping for over there, it's very very affordable. To order the same thing from Amazon will cost like $10, but yes, you have to wait maybe a couple of weeks, like a month or so, but it's a saving. Mics, like this mic in particular is a condensed mic, so it takes a battery, but the sound I get are pretty distinct. So in the filming industry, we say sound is more important than the picture. So the tenderness of voice, that's really matters. If you don't have a budget, let's say you want to do just Instagram for your business startup, I would suggest maybe, I'm a Nikon guy initially, and now I kind of convert to the Sony, but Nikon 200, for example, D200, 18 years ago, it's been $4,000, $5,000 camera. Nowadays, you can buy it $50, maybe $60, up under $100. It's still produced, it's a full frame camera, it still produced proper pictures. So for someone who is starting in the business and just need a camera to do Instagram stuff, it's still big professional camera, but you can buy it for a fraction of a cost. Same thing with lens, you can buy maybe a prime lens for that from Chinese manufacturer, could be a third-party lens, maybe $50-60. So for less than $200 with the batteries and all that stuff, you can have a proper camera that will produce for you a good Instagram pictures way better than the cell phone will do. You'll have dimension, you'll have the perspective, you'll have all those things to play with. Yes, it's 15, 16 years old technology, but it's still, for the small Instagram pictures, that will do the trick. As far as the video, Sony's, like I would say maybe 710, like something like that, HD. It used to be $2,000 camera. Now you can buy it on eBay probably $200-300. I have a couple of those. The advantage of having this inexpensive cameras, it gets you like really, like even if you break it, lose it, forget it, cameras breaks, like you know, things happen. Water damage, all kind of stuff. You're not gonna sweat over this. If you can have a couple of those, if one breaks, you have another one. I have, yes, thank you. You see, I'm sweating. That's another topic that I would talk about for blogging. Guys, we get nervous and we sweat and we shine. So when you're getting ready for the your broadcast, kind of look at the mirror, like take away the sweat, maybe a little. I have a couple of videos how I teach the basic makeup for guys. I'm supposed to do it myself today. I didn't do it right now, but basically a little bit of concealer, a little bit of foundation. Even guys who are not gay, who are not into this, fashion world, I think should understand. Girls know how to present themselves, but for men who want to be in a small startup business, presentation, the haircut, the look matters. Okay. I would say dress a little bit more fancy than you plan to, but not over. If the colors are not right, let's say this is a little bit too noisy. I chose it for a reason today, that's why I'm wearing that much color, so it gets a little bit of attention. But really, if you want to plan to have a long speech, probably noisy stuff is not good. For you ladies, I would suggest when you dress for the Instagram post or for like YouTube post or like a blogging, if you wear something amazing, like amazing jewelry and an amazing dress, probably that dress could be sold and people will pay attention. You're not gonna make any money out of it. So my suggestion, when you dress for the like a blogging, it has to complement you, it has to help you rather than take attention to itself. So if to do the whole like blogging, you're talking about like particular service, you're talking about particular product, And people just think, where am I gonna buy those jewelry? Where am I gonna buy her earrings? Where did she get it? And that's all they think. They might buy it actually, they might find it, but you competing with the basically what you wear, like this lipstick or this particular mascara. So try to have it less invasive, so it complements you, it helps you, it kind of bring you up, but it's not, it competes against you. Okay. Let me go back to my notes. If you have any questions so far, I would be glad to kind of address them. This is actually one of my books on how to sell on Amazon and eBay. I have thousands of reviews, so obviously we had quite a few years when we sold quite a bit. And this is my book on photography filmmaking. And this one is my bargaining and negotiation book. I went to Baruch College, and that's where I teach a few years ago those classes. So that's where some of that notes come from. Okay, let me just check if I'm missing any points. Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
How can you find you online?
How can you find me? I'm Alexander Gurman. Alexander Gurman. So if you Google my name, you'll see lots of articles, lots of publications. One thing that I want to talk about is if anybody asks you to pay for publication, probably those are not a good publications. There are two ways to make money in the publication world. When the publication get paid by the people who they write about, and when they get money from the advertisement and subscription. So by suggestion, those publications that produce money from the charging people to be on the platform don't get much outreach. That's their revenue. So you want the publication, legitimate ones who will not charge you for publication, that will be editorial, but they make money because they view. Okay, so that's and have a story. Just by asking publish my I have a startup, I have a business. What kind of business you have? What do you do?
I'm an NGO right now. I just started working on the media and web.
Media web.
Department of an NGO.
Okay, so when you look for your clients, you often you want to have the correlation between number of hours you look for them and number of hours you actually supporting them. So I think the breakdown for me, actually, I spend 80% of time on things that not working, and 20% of what's working, it's working already. So I kind of let it go and just pay a little bit of attention not to hurt it. But things that I don't know, the things that are not working for me, that's the ones where I kind of put most of the effort. One thing that I suggest, get yourself a press pass like this from NYPD. That will get you to a number of locations, parades and city hall and police stations. So that will open many doors, events, let's say Metropolitan Gala, a lot of big events where people charge $50, $50,000, whatever, a huge amount of money to attend. Once you have this, Javits Center, so many other events, as a press, you get to go for free. You need to, it's the rules on the website pretty clear for this New York City. You need to cover 6 events for the city, and officially, so you basically when you come to events like today, right? What you want to accomplish at the end of the day, build a network, find people to collaborate with, make videos together. Let's say I have a following, you have your following. We do something together. My people follow you, my people maybe hire you, your people maybe hire me. That's how we met at Gen. I was covering one of the events for the original Shark Tank guys, Kevin, I believe, at the one of the hotels here. Today is actually a tough day. I have to give you a plug-in for Gen. Basically today there are 3 things happening right now at the same time. Number 1, there is erotica show in Jersey. This is the biggest event in the porn basically industry in this arena. So a lot of guys, whoever have free time, goes to see those porn stars. So it's really difficult to compete against that. Lots of porn stars, all the best people. The other competition that you face today, Jen facing today, is the what's his name, Gary V, and like a friend of, I worked for him once, and Jamie Dimon and so many other people are doing another event in Jersey. So competing against such a tough market, it's a tough thing. So my plugin for Jen is here. I think you guys can certainly reach out to Jen. She is, first of all, you look at her, even if you don't know who she is, she's very pretty, a good looking girl. For blogging, for the being a spokesperson for the brand, it helps. Even before, she's very smart, obviously, but to get to that, she needs to open her, mouth and talk. But once you have a general appeal, that's really helpful. After that, you can discover that she knows things beyond that. So I think the space here is pretty cool. It's a nice location. It could be events like this. I think another thing that difficult that she's facing, everybody at work now. Most of the events of that nature take place at night, 6, 7 o'clock. So she's doing it in the morning. So that's another challenge that Jen is facing today. And it's like first of many others. So even maybe we don't have the biggest turnaround today and its biggest production, but eventually I think you can see the growth. I've been on a number of boards of events that start small. For example, the fashion show for Indian and Pakistani community. A friend of mine started 37, 38 years in his basement. Small, tiny event. The first event was in his basement. The second event he did on his backyard. Right now we look at 3,000-5,000 people coming all over the world. He does it every month. It's a multi-million-dollar event right now. But it started with a humble beginning, and he grew it to a tremendous following. He does it in France, he does it in Britain, so many countries. But it started very small. So a lot of things, if you have consistency, might take you further. Okay, let me see if I didn't forget any. What was the question? Did I answer your question or not?
Yes, while you were answering, I was developing more what I was speaking, because I previously worked in a corporate like my entire life, and now I transitioned to a nonprofit.
Okay.
This is a startup, like grassroots, we just started in May. So it's a totally different target, it's a different crowd, and I come from, I've worked in banks before, in retail, and I'm now in charge of the media and web department, communications, marketing, events, everything. It's just the three of us.
Nice.
Yes, and it's LGBT-focused NGO.
Got it.
I'm not gay, I have no knowledge of their world, so I'm trying to transfer my skills that I have in the corporate into this field, which is totally different. Mostly what we're going to do there is advocating to get more rights for these people. This organization is the previous ESPA, which is the one that got the marriage equality law to be passed in New York. But then after that, it was a huge accomplishment. They decided to, part ways, all the board members, and one of them said, you know what, we're going to keep fighting. And this is my boss now, Cynthia Dames. And they're putting a lot of expectation on me, we need to have our Instagram page that just started 2 weeks ago with thousands of followers.
Okay, so I have a little suggestion for you. So it takes.
Yes.
Yourself?
I'm designing the website, I'm doing the Instagram.
It can take me to my next point.
You have experience doing all this.
Well, in the corporate, but not in non-profit and LGBT, it's a new world.
Right. Strategically wise, you need to figure out what's going to tickle This is gonna be fun. I love it.
So
Figure this out. Okay. All right.
I'm almost done. So
I love that because that just says something about you, right? You're taking on a challenge that you're completely new to, right? That's completely strange to you, and you're like, okay, let's do this, right? We're gonna lift up our sleeves and just dig in.
Challenges.
That's it.
You know,
Otherwise, what are you gonna do, right? You're gonna have to learn it eventually.
Exactly.
Cool.
So the answer, like follow back on this, with my next point that I was actually planning to cover, free resources in New York City. I'm part of the YouTube space in Chelsea Market, which is a huge studios, which has lots of free cameras. We're talking about 4K, 8K, like really fancy red cameras. Everything is free. The studios free, cameras free, crew, a lot of things free there. There is a Brick Studios in Brooklyn, like BAM, which is free. Here in Manhattan, we have a few blocks away from here is Manhattan Neighborhood Networks. This is like $40 to $60 million annual spending that city spends like for the production. So a lot of people who don't have resources, let's say you cannot buy a camera, you cannot borrow equipment. You can go there, you can get it for free. So you can get.
I can turn events on those places. And
Yes, you can use this space. The space is free. It's bigger than this studios, and it doesn't cost anything. It's free. It's non-profit by the city. Uncle Sam pays for everything. The Microsoft Studios, the Amazon Studios, the Instagrams, a lot of free resources in the city here we have. And the YouTube right now has $35,000 challenge. It's basically 500 people get $35,000, no strings attached. You can spend this money to pay your bills. You can spend this money to buy camera equipment. You can do whatever you want to grow your YouTube channel. The Brick has also a program now that they give like quite a bit of money for new production. So it's a lot of scholarships, a lot of nonprofits, a lot of like not a block away, on the same block there is a tank. The tank is one of the biggest theaters in the country, and it's free. So you can go, let's say, people who have a speech or a production, they can sell tickets, and the tank will give you 97% profit to you, and they will not charge you for the space, for the ushers, for the food, for everything. It's for lights, for insurance, everything is on them. So a lot of things of that nature are available in the city. So I hope that the events like what Jen is producing here would be helpful for the folks, and like when we share information like that, people come in, and, you know, for the YouTube space, like the challenge is I believe until the November 8th, and for the Brick is like December 23rd something. So you plenty of time to like build your video like for submission and apply.
Thank you so much.
I think we're done on time. Do I have more time, or we're good?
Yeah, go for it. Did you go over, Alex, as far as like the camera production stuff?
Yes, we cover a little bit. If I mentioned that the cameras that are available, like one thing that I would suggest is the GoPro cameras that I didn't mention. Mm-hmm. I used a little session when it was new. Maybe I can show it to you, like where you can take a look at it. It was like maybe $500-600. Now you can buy it maybe $150-200 a camera like that. It's still 4K. It's a really tiny camera. I use it mostly for illegal stuff. I go for like the. It's okay. I know what I'm talking about. Usually like when Lady Gaga performs, or like big fancy person performs here at Madison Square Garden, the media rights are very expensive to film, like maybe $25,000-50,000. Usually I have a couple of friends who are musicians, performers, so they open up for big performers. They want to have a little video that they actually performed before like a big celebrity star. And obviously they cannot afford the big one. So like, and pictures are allowed, but videos not. So like sometimes for a friend we would risk and just film a little. It doesn't go on social media, it doesn't go like on places, but at least they have some kind of proof that they actually collaborate with like a celebrity. But with a big camera you can't do that. Also the GoPro is very produce a lot of empathy. So it's very close. It's very action sport stuff. So like I do like martial arts, like fighting, dancing. So with all this stuff, like this camera is really close. You can put it in your head. I recently modeled actually a fashion show, having GoPro in my mouse grip, so I kind of film it as the model from model perspective. So that was kind of picked up by media quite a bit. I think that small camera like that would be not invasive in subway. So a lot of things could be done. Look, I can show you. I have a little zoom there. The new zoom will maybe $500, $600 will cost you. A zoom like that maybe $100, like $150. So it's really, really affordable. Yes, it's Zoom 4 versus Zoom 6 or 7, but it still does the job. So you don't need to spend like on the latest. If you have a budget, go for it. Of course, the latest will give you the best sound, the best picture, everything the best. But if you don't know, a lot of people do. They buy equipment and they never use it, and it's stuck out. My suggestion: to buy the cheapest, the simplest solution that you can get. Use it. If you use it a lot and it produces a lot of content and it makes money for you, keep it. Don't sell it. Buy a fancy one and have that as a backup. So in case your fancy camera breaks or like you lose it or something happens, you have that older technology that you know. But start small. So otherwise you're gonna waste your budget on technology. It's a never-ending process. You can always buy new tripods, new lights. There is always something to buy. I don't want to like, kill everybody's time, but I will kind of, you can look me up. I will give you my contact information if you need advice, like what tripod to buy, what stand to buy. I can show it to you, like what else I'm using, which I'll show you one of the grips that I kind of like to use. Okay. So, sir, do you have any questions?
I just want to know what your Instagram name is so I can find it.
So, Alexander E. Gurman. That's my Instagram name. Like basically, like I have a couple of accounts, but that's my personal one that I kind of use. Alexander E. Gurman on Instagram, and on the Facebook, Alexander Gurman, and same Twitter. Like basically, all the platforms to cover, it's kind of difficult. So you need to pick your battles. My suggestion: don't try to cover all the media at once, because you will have a little bit of following everywhere and nowhere like a huge one. Pick one where you, like, it's more cohesive to your where your clients are, where your strategy should be, and bid in that one. I choose YouTube because it's more money, it pays better. But I think if you choosing now which platforms to be on, I would suggest LinkedIn. LinkedIn is new in the video game in that space, so they spend most of the money. They are the fast growing one, so there are not that many big kind of players in that space. So there is a room to grow there. So like if you like thinking of Instagram or Facebook, where will be the biggest impact, LinkedIn right now is the easiest to compete with, just because you don't have all these strong guys against you.
So I have a question. When do you start getting paid in YouTube?
Look, on YouTube, you're getting paid from moment one. Like every time people view your videos, you're getting paid, right? Let's say so the way they always changing their system. Like Amazon pays me in certain ways, YouTube pays in certain ways. Like every platform pays. It goes in numbers. Let's say a million views in Russia, I get like $78. On a million views here in New York, I would get like maybe $1,200. So if Donald Trump or Lady Gaga watch my video just one time, I might get maybe $700-800 just for one view. So it's really the matter. Like let's say if your target audience is the doctors, you will get maybe for 1,000 views, maybe $7-8, because doctors have a lot of money. So if someone in Nigeria, in a little country watching, 1,000 views in Ukraine gets me like maybe 2-3 pennies. 1,000 views here in New York, maybe $1, $2. So it really depends like who is your audience, who is watching you. And you set up like your AdSense account, and I like the royalties. I like those books. Like every month I see Lulu pays, Barnes & Noble pays, like Amazon pays. So I get used to the residual income. That's something that's very comforting. Like even if you don't produce new videos, new pictures, like nothing new, you still get your residual, and that like that's something that I enjoy. So with the YouTube, just make your videos, post it. Hopefully they get viral. You get more attention on those, and it
So
works.
When you get viral, is there a percentage, or is it by likes that you get paid?
You get they in the formula. You can go on YouTube, and they have pretty extended explanation how it works, about like 240 parameters that matters, that they consider basically how many people watch it, how many views, how long they watch it, do they watch it to the end of the video. So like on Instagram it matters numbers, like just views and likes. The YouTube, it really matters like more like watch to the end, like if it's relevant. Let's say you call your video Lady Gaga, but there is nothing about Lady Gaga there, so they will penalize you for that. Rules are changing every day. So like I used to do a lot of videos with my kids. Now like basically you can't do advertisement with the kids, like a lot of stuff like been taken away, and the 2020 gonna be much harsh year. So all this like media companies like Facebook, YouTube, they've been hit by Congress and other legal bodies that so a lot of things are closing up. People used to make a ton of money with the influencer. Now this market is pretty much died out. There are so many new folks coming out and willing to do it for free. So the people who used to make quite a bit of money of us, now it's like like whatever we charge, let's say $10,000. Now it's like $1,000, maybe $100. So you need to keep up. Look, technology not gonna stop. You need to be ahead of time and just change as it goes. Yes.
So, like I'm new to real estate. I'm coaching women real estate agents. So that's my niche. And I just launched my business yesterday. And I've been coaching, but I haven't been live online. So what would you suggest for a new business? What to do? What platforms? Just to start generating money and content. And what's the best
so real estate is an animal by itself. Real estate is interesting. So there are a lot of money in real estate, right? And the women market by itself, it's also very specific to comparing to the guys. Okay, so the way I would look into real estate, you need amazing pictures of the properties. You need to have drone maybe moving around. You need to understand how to take a video of the of the space. So a great picture, a great video can make things sell instead of 3 years in a year, instead of let's say for a fraction of a cost for much higher. So a proper marketing for the place. Like I went recently to Hamptons and we filmed a music video there. So I had amazing designers, I had amazing performer, I had really beautiful models, and the property got sold really much faster, and they got a lot more money for it. And we're talking about millions of dollars difference. So being creative in that space, I think really matters. Girls have advantage over guys. You're pretty, you have an interesting voice. So when you talk about the property, when you create those videos, when you create those posts, you can attract attention to the property. So if in the past people say, oh, being a woman is disadvantage, in some areas it's an advantage, it's eye candy. For example, when I was picking up a person to do this comedy skit, right? I had an option between Sam, who is a professional actor who knows a lot of lines and she went to acting school, and I had a beautiful Jen. And Jen doesn't have this kind of training as the actress, but Jen looks good. She's a she's done this kind of job hiring people all the time. So I figured out she has a space, she has a look. We can coach her with the acting part, and we can take, instead of maybe one take, 5-6 different takes, but that will really get my video going further. So there is nothing to be ashamed to being pretty. You just want to kind of not to give probably a wrong message, like opening a little bit too much skin or like giving a wrong message. So if they watching this real estate video because of they will just want to look at the meat and the girl, that will not make actual sale on a real estate property. Yes, you will get a lot of views on that, but you're not gonna move the item that you want. So you want to have maybe a little bit more conservative on site. So people who really matters, doctors, lawyers who have a lot of money, because if it has a lot of sex in it, yes, it will be viral, it will be viewed, but the people that will look in the office surroundings, people cannot watch the way too sexy video. They will shut it down. So it will not accomplish the end goal of selling the property. So I would work the fine line here. Like lots of videos online to learn about real estate. Maybe you talk about your real estate. Talk to the other agents, like collaborate. I think that's the answer pretty much on real estate.
Okay.
I don't know if it helped.
No, that's perfect, because what I do is I've been in real estate for 8 years, and what I do is now I coach women, real estate agents. So I coach them in their business. So I love that, because I'm going to take whatever you just said and give that to my clients, right?
Okay.
So as a coach, like now I'm online, I have my website, I have my Facebook page. You said LinkedIn, which is something I'm only on as a real estate agent, but I'm not there for my coaching. So what do you suggest for LinkedIn that I should do as a coach?
So let's look at the coaching business as itself. In order to coach, that makes you more primarily interesting in your coaching arena rather than real estate or women. That's just a niche, but basically all coaches want to be heard, want to be famous, want to be known, have numbers. Consistency, so we have postcasts, let's say every Tuesday or some particular time. So have interesting locations, like understand how you position the camera. Let's say you have a beautiful view behind you. You coaching from different interesting locations. Having a decent mic that makes your voice look really intimate to the ear. Those things will make a difference. I know quite a few coaches. And it's a very tough space. You basically kind of speak up, and but you need to kind of charge money at some point for your service. So there is a balance between free stuff, what you can do for free, and actually when you convert it to the paid clients. I think that starts when you have a tremendous kind of brand recognition name. So people can say, you know what? Spend time with this girl and your business will grow. That happened to me. One person at a time, so you build your following. It doesn't have to be millions of people. It has to be like 2-3 real case scenarios when they went under your tutelage and they meet you, they work with you, and then they become your testimonials that this works. And that you build. You don't need millions of views for that. You just need a small niche of people who were not successful at some point and who became extremely successful. And it's somewhere along the line they can vouch that, you know what, that girl was a part of my success. Like for me, for example, in the fashion world, I do a lot of fashion shows, a lot of work with models. Many of those girls comes off the boat, fresh, have no idea, don't speak English, don't have papers, a lot of, starting young. Guess what? Some of them are pretty, some of them are smart, and they get married. And I have cases when I done weddings and I done events, and right now some of those girls that I worked 5-10 years ago now control tremendous resources. So that's my biggest kind of network that I can say, like, you know what, that girl, like at some point Melania Trump was just a model and now she's a first lady. Yeah. Whether you like it or not, but a lot of girls go through this. So for coaching, I think having one-on-one those like success stories and tell the story. Empathy matters and sympathy. Just make them cry, make them laugh. Produce some kind of connection. So if you get the kind of answers and questions, and you need to have certain conflict in the story. So if the story is interesting, they will come for coaching. So I think that's the could be the answer.
Thank you. No, that's great. So what do you post on LinkedIn? Like, what's gonna capture?
So
I've heard a lot about LinkedIn, but like, what kind of content is gonna get like?
for me, I find that I'm not going for the following and numbers in that sense. I'm going for the substance.
Yeah.
So whenever I have an event, whenever I have a story, whenever I have something to say, something that's actually happening, that's what I post. So I don't find it's interesting just to post a picture of what I see or eat. It's more like a interesting, like let's say right now I share with you, YouTube gives $35,000, no strings attached for you building a channel. That's a substantial, real information that you can go check it out and use it. And some people will actually benefit from this. I'm gonna post this video, people will watch it, and some of them will use it. That's a tangible information. So when you share like something real, on LinkedIn, people will get accustomed that whenever that person says something, that has some kind of substance to it. So like, have a story, like whether it's a funny story, like it could be extremely like just funny joke, like you share, like we share all on Facebook, something that gets people's day. I don't like cheesy, like a inspirational stuff. I find it's a little bit pretentious, but I think the empathy, the real like human message resonates with folks.
Okay. How about on your Instagram? On Instagram, do you do more stories or more posts? What do you think is more?
Same thing. I think the substance matter. Like I don't go for the like particular like I want this look. If something happening and that talks to me and a few people, I have basically maybe 5-6 decent clients at that moment that I'm working with. But so I'm talking to these people. I'm not talking to everybody. I want these people that I have a person who heard my presentation, heard my message, and I want them to move from the point when they listen to me to the point when they sign and give a check, when I have the money or the actual contract or something. So if this particular story will change their alter their opinion to move right now, that's what I post. So I talk to particular. It's everybody can see it basically, but I have particular target audience, trust fund babies, like the people that I want to touch with my message, and that's what my Instagram is about.
Right. Just one more question. I assume you do it now because you already have a lot of followers and you're already well known. But when you were starting, how did you do to attract more followers when you were not known for everyone yet?
So there are a number of strategies that works for everybody. One, you collaborate with people who already have numbers. So let's say you go, Gary V. He's a famous guy. You work for them. You do something with someone who already have following, and they mention you in their story. So some of their following wrap of you. So you work with people who have a name. You do free work for them or help them, or for whatever reason, if they find that it's fair to give some attention to you, they will mention you, and you will get a lot of attention. Start somewhere, right? Number two, you produce original, basically your own content. It doesn't matter how many you have now. It matters the ratio. So the Instagram is very smart. You can I've been doing this a couple of times. You started a brand new Instagram with 0 following, nothing, and then you make a post that matters. Like you announce very important information, something important, and Instagram see, okay, this person it's a ratio. How many you follow and how many follows you. You won't always have the balance that a lot of people follow you, you follow less, right? So with this kind of Instagram algorithm will think, okay, whenever that person posts something, that gets viral, even on a small scale. They have 20 people following them, but they got 200 likes. That's really important. But if you have, let's say, 1 million followers and you have 20 likes, that's something wrong with this ratio. You understand? So you want to have a ratio of even very few people that follow you, but a lot of attention, a lot of like useful information. It has to be relevant. So if it's like fake information, the system at some point will kind of penalize you and downgrade you, and you, let's say, never buy the likes. Like I would suggest, like all this, a lot of competition, like what Jan is against. What they do, they will do the work, but they actually buy the on the farms those likes. They will buy those following fake ones, and that will hurt your account dramatically. Instagram will know it's fake, it's not real. You would not know about it because you hired a professional and they just buy it on your behalf, and that will hurt you in the long run. And it's really difficult to get rid of those. So like try to like keep it clean as possible in that sense. Like maybe that will work. What else works for the Instagram? Just some amazing content. I think that's what works.
Do you think, like in your picture, like it says that you could post tags, tag, so it says that you could tag up to 20 people. Who do you think, like say I'm a coach, she's working for an NGO, who would be our ideal people that we tag?
People that allows you to tag. So like, it's really annoying like when people tag me without my consent. Like either I unfriend them or block them or like at some point, because you want to tag people that friends of you, people who are relevant to the story, who will be comfortable with this position. So basically you think of how much damage it can bring versus how much good it will give you. If by antagonizing, let's say you tag 20 people and those 20 people will never work with you because you tag them all the time for no reason, they don't getting anything out of it. So you're gonna lose those 20 real connections versus like getting maybe like unreal like new ones. So you tag the ones that want to be in that picture, who are relevant to the story. I think that will matter. For me, tagging, let's say in the market, let's say in the fashion world, because I do so many gigs with models and stuff and actors, is actually kind of a dangerous space, because then what they do, they hire those people and avoid me. So whenever I tag someone else, I don't get to be in the picture. They just go directly to the source. So I try to minimize those tagging in my particular space. One thing that I forgot to mention for the networking and building connections is the movie industry. Movie industry. We have a Hollywood here in New York City. Basically, there are thousands of productions. All these CNN, Fox News, all these places are here. Right now, the city experiencing the biggest Hollywood boom historically ever been in New York City. So if you register with the Central Casting, Network Casting, you will be booked for background work for big movies like from Venom, Joker, all that kind of stuff. When you come to those castings, not only you're gonna get paid for your time and the food is great and all that stuff, you get to meet like a lot of celebrities, actors. People who do background work, a lot of them do it not for the money, but for the networking opportunities, for fun of it. I meet sometimes doctors, lawyers, people who have tremendous wealth, and they just do it for the art, for being in the industry. And you spend, let's say, 6-8 hours a day with these folks. You may be on a film like 2-3 minutes, but you have to be there for 8 hours to get paid. So I think that's a great networking tool for. Like I said, there are basically 5-6 major agencies in the world. Like Casting Network controls like 90% of the, they're like a block away from here. You register, it's free. You become part of it, and they send you the gigs. You go to like a movie set. They feed you, they dress you, they do makeup, hair. You get paid. It's legitimate big corporations, and there are a whole bunch of them. I've been on Deuce. I've been Madame Marcel, pretty much like Law and Order, like a whole bunch of like pretty much every Ray Donovan, like pretty much all the big productions that are happening right now in New York. It's very easy to.
So any cast that we just, when we go on Google.
No, not any. There are a lot of fake ones. 99% of them
What are the
are
best
not
ones?
real. Like I said, casting networks.
Oh, casting network. I'm
Casting
sorry.
networks and the central castings. Those are central castings.
Central casting, sorry.
Like those are the like if you look follow my YouTube, Instagram, you'll see I have videos like where I talk about like how to start in this industry. You need basically a headshot. You need particular like a voiceover, but it's a nice revenue, additional income for a family. Because you get paid, let's say, even with my Russian voice, apparently with Ukraine right now the news, I get to play now Zelensky. Apparently, I don't, like he's in the news. I get to like all these Russian like villains and Arabic folks. So I get to play all those roles. So there is apparently a huge boom right now. I don't know how long it will last, but those companies they got a huge tax break right now. It's like 60-80% of tax break comparing to California or like Atlanta. So the industry kind of came back to New York dramatically, and the city was not ready for it. So the like I told Jan, this place could be used for holdings for the filming all the time because it's like city have not expected that so many movie companies, film crews will come from LA and other places to New York.
Wow.
So right now it's like one of the biggest money makers for the city.
Thank you for sharing that.
And it's a great networking space, so you don't have to pay for the event. You're actually getting paid for your hours. It's a minimum wage, but it's a kind of nice minimum wage, and it's like people that you meet quite interesting. It's art, so it's a lot of interesting folks there.
Do you mind telling me again what were the places you said we can go and do like events and
So Microsoft Studios,
Microsoft?
Amazon Studios, Instagram Studios, YouTube Space, Brick Art Media Center, right here it's Manhattan Network, Manhattan Neighborhood Networks. I think what we will do, I'm gonna get a piece of paper. You guys can kind of give me your emails, and I will send you my notes for the lecture, so that way kind of you can spell those things correctly. That maybe will be yes. I will give to everybody this information. Good.
No, it's good, thank you.
My. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.